Welcome to Talking Live. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig right here in Starshop Studio in Times Square. And this is the perfect backdrop for today's show. We are talking about a new limited off-Broadway play called Good Morning, Miss America. And we have the director here and one of the actresses, Katie O'Regan. She is just a lovely performer. We got to see the performance last night. I feel so lucky. It was at a legendary theater. And the name of the theater is called Theater 80 St. Mark Street.
Yes.
How do you feel being in that theater? It's incredible.
There's a magicness about that theater because some of the greatest of the greats in theater have been on that stage. It's so historic.
It had such a great vibe, and what I really liked about it is that we weren't even sitting that close up by choice, and there was an intimacy about the theater, so I really felt like I had access to the actors. And this was such a multi-layered play and so powerful. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how you got involved and chose to work with this play and in this play?
I met Dr. Phylilis Yes, who is the playwright and an amazing, really world-famous artist in her own right. And she wrote a play called Good Morning, Miss America. And I, as a producer and a director and an actress, asked her if I could read it. And as soon as I read it, I decided that I was going to produce the play. And I didn't know how I was going to produce it, but she and I clicked right away. She's just a lovely, lovely human being, and so insightful about the human condition. Actually, before I read the play, I knew I was going to produce the play.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And it was, people make things happen. The energy.
Agree.
Right.
I agree. And I was saying that even our meeting was a little bit divine in many ways, because it's rare that something registers with me and we can make it happen right away. We just can't always do that. But what's interesting about the person who wrote this play is that this is her first play at 75 years old.
Yes.
She wrote her first screenplay, and I love that story.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
And it was based on her own experience. So what the play deals with is what happens when family, parents specifically, get older and there's an illness, and then the midlife siblings, or in this case children, really need to deal with the fallout from that and what happens in the family when this takes place. This was based on her own life.
This was based on her own life.
Yeah.
I play the character of Jane, who is the older sister, who is really Phyllis. She wrote her character based upon her persona.
Yeah.
And she indeed has a younger sister who's coming to the play next Saturday
Oh,
night,
I
by
love
the
that.
way.
I love that.
So wonderful. So the characters that she wrote are so universal that anyone could see themselves in these characters. So there's the older daughter and the younger daughter, and the stepfather and the mother. And the mother has dementia. The father has started in dementia as well. And these are lovely human beings who just happen to be, in this case, in the throes of dementia. So we have very specific issues around that. Phyllis just hit the nail on the head and all these issues within the play.
The characters are very layered, and so I think that's what makes them so identifiable. So, there's the favored sister.
Yes, that's me, Jane.
Right. And there's the mother, and part of it is really sad because we see a beautiful love story that you can tell this was a couple that was deeply in love, and just time got away from them. And they were arriving at this place in life that they weren't ready for.
That's a great description of it.
Yeah.
That's very.
We do have pictures of the actors in the play, and they just were all so powerful. And we really get to learn about the characters because it's brilliantly woven into the play. Who the stepfather is, who each sibling is, who the mother is and was.
Yes. I'm so glad that you were a part of our audience last night. It was a special privilege.
I love being there. I love being there. What the show did really well, and this was your idea, that the music was another character. And it set the mood, and also a description of who each actor was, or kind of set the scene in some way. What helped you to decide to include that into this particular play?
The play has so many different scenes, different scenarios. So Jane lives in Portland, the character that I play, and their parents live in Austin, Minnesota. And so you have to change the scene.
Yeah.
And so in the theater, one can't have black space and be unentertained. So you lose the story.
Yeah.
So in our show, I decided to make it like a train, the whole show.
Yeah.
And the music doesn't blare, but it does tell the story very much. It's very,
Yes.
it's subtle.
It's
right?
another character.
It is another character.
And great music too. So I think people are kind of really drawn into the story because the music is so fabulous as well. So it fits in perfectly. And what I loved about this play and in reading the person who wrote it was really, there were times that were dark.
Yes,
there were
very,
times
very
that
dark.
were tough, and you're listening to it and you're seeing this couple that's in love and they're really failing in a dangerous way and they're not aware of it and they're not open to
help,
good advice.
Right.
They just were really unprepared. And the writer said, these are topics we need to talk more about. And you were talking about your own personal situation with your mother, and I know when I have patients, these things do come up all the time about how reasonable a parent who's failing can be. And just the sadness, even if everything is in place, watching your parents, who are your heroes on some level, not be able to be who they once were. And I do think this is a conversation that we need to talk about more. And we don't like to talk about things that are painful.
You're so right.
So that is the goal here, really. Not only, well, that's ideally the goal of entertainment, right? Through art, we can really objectify and take things in that maybe we can't in real life or through an article.
If art doesn't do that, then it's not really art.
Right. Yes.
This is really art.
And before you actually came out last night, the actors go into the audience to introduce themselves, which was really lovely. And each person in the audience was talking about their own personal story.
It's remarkable. This play, it happened. I produced this in Decorah, Iowa in April. And the same reaction from every audience. People want to talk about their very personal story, which I think is the power of the play.
Yes.
I had an audience member say that it's going to be a cult classic because we all deal with these issues.
Yeah.
It's
listen, where nobody is getting out of life alive. We're just not.
We're not.
And, it was interesting because, we're all living a lot longer. So we are going to have to deal with some of the things that happen as a result of aging, and talking about long-term care and how a lot of insurance companies they're very expensive. They don't even want to insure long-term care because they preferred to do it when people weren't dying as late. Now they know they really are going to have to put money into people that are living longer, and they're like, oh, forget that. We wanted to hedge our bets when people died kind of early.
Let me check the contract.
Yeah,
right? It's true.
Yeah, it's something my parents, spoke about. They did not want to overburden. I have two sisters, so they didn't want to overburden us, and fortunately, my mother is turning 80, my dad's 83. I swear to God to you, they look like they're in their 70s. They're so fabulous. They
I believe you.
And,
look at you.
And fortunately, if you're lucky, you're well.
Yes, that's right.
If you're lucky, you have your mind. But, as just a thoughtful parent, you kind of have to prepare for what do I want for my children and to think ahead.
You really do. I just lost my mother about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, and she's the wind beneath my wings.
Aww.
Today would be her October 4th, my parents' 62nd anniversary.
Today?
Today.
Oh
this
my
very
gosh.
Day.
Oh, I'm sure she's shining down her light.
Maybe she
brought us
created
together.
this.
She probably did.
I think she did.
Yes, I do believe
the day you
in
called
that.
me was her birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And today is her anniversary.
Wow. See, I knew something was
Yeah,
divine.
Leona O'Regan.
Yes. Oh, Leona's making things happen behind the scenes.
She
I love
always
it.
did. She raised 6 brothers, my brothers and me. So I have no sisters.
Wow.
And I lost her and I moved back to Iowa because my daddy still lives there and he's 86. And although he's a very capable man, he's 86.
Yeah.
And so I'm really Jane, and the character who's actually being responsible for the parents. I'm her in lots of ways.
Yeah.
So that's another reason I produced the play and talked to Phyllis, and she and I just, let's do this.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for me.
Yeah.
This is a project of complete and utter love, and the fact that we got it to Off-Broadway is a miracle.
And that is really ideally the way you want to enter into any creative project, to kind of follow the fun and the joy in it is the way I certainly try to operate my life, and that's how I try to lead my life, just because it makes it more enjoyable, and I'm all for feeling good, quite honestly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm all about that.
Right.
I do find it really interesting, though, that you play a dual role in the sense of being the director and being an actor in the play as well. And just how is that done? Does that create complications?
No, it really doesn't. It's somehow, it's more intimate. I work as a director, I work as a team. So the actors are amazing acters who,
This was us last night. I went to the play and I got to take a picture with the actors afterwards. It was so great. They were very gracious.
Yes. Darren Zimmer plays my sister. She's fabulous. Henry Packer. Look, Doris Jung. We're really, so as a director, I'm a very collaborative person in general. And because Jane has the largest part, it was almost easier for me to be the director and in it.
Interesting.
Because I have to rehearse with them anyway.
Yeah. How do you direct yourself? Does that make it challenging?
The only reason I could be in this one is because I produced and directed it just in April, and I wasn't in it. So I had perspective on the play and as a director.
Okay.
So it was really much easier.
Yeah, easier.
That's
right. That's right.
This time, I think that's and I'm also producing it.
So, you are just like a one-man band or one-woman band, I should say.
Well, one-woman band in some ways, because as an artist, I like to see the whole picture. That's my genre is, I love to produce art that is meaningful.
Yeah.
And as a painter, I paint the stage from the director's point of view. I love lighting design. I'm a choreographer, a dancer, I sing, that stuff. So to me, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, it's all creating kind of this powerful, impactful experience for the audience.
And not just, if I just wanted to have this just about me, I would do a one-woman show. I would bring it to Off-Broadway. I would have other team, but that's not where my heart is. I love lifting other people up. I love I'm a playwright myself, but I'm doing someone else's play.
Yeah.
Do you see? That's where I lie in my interest in the world.
I just think
it's more fun.
I agree. And there really is room for all of us. So we were talking about women in midlife, supporting other women,
right,
and just kind of creating all of these new opportunities. And I think that's really based on life history and wisdom. We know ourselves so much more. There's such confidence, and you have a sense of where you want to go in that regard.
Isn't that true?
Yeah. And you have relationships already.
Right.
That you can kind of use and access and create beauty for people. Now, one of the things you are doing with this show that is really unique is you're doing something called a talk back. Tell me a little bit about that. And in fact, tonight, we will show this, so you're seeing it tonight, but you will have access to buy tickets to the play. It's a limited run. We'll have a link. It's till the 13th, correct? Or 12th?
The 12th.
The 12th, okay, October 12th. And there are still tickets, and it's just a great theater, and it's in the East Village, which is
very hip.
Around all of these fabulous restaurants and shops and great things. So good choice in terms of areas. But the talk back, where'd that idea come from, and who can people expect to see during the talkbacks?
Well, in the talkback, we're having a doctor from the Mayo Clinic who's an expert coming to speak on Thursday and Friday of next week.
Okay.
And we want to talk about the show because all the audience wants to talk about the show. Mm-hmm. So we decided to ask this wonderful doctor, Dr. Corey Engstrom, to come and speak to us. And let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm also inviting this young, beautiful lady
to
come and talk about it. Don't you think she should do a talk back?
I'd love to join you for one of those nights.
Because it's this show is not about Alzheimer's. It's some people can get it confused because dementia is different than Alzheimer's, as you know.
Yes, it's a different disease.
But really, this story is a show about this family. And the love between, and the competition between, and the issues between, which is perfect for you to talk about as a psychologist.
Yeah.
Right?
It was very interesting. I was reading this article, and this woman was talking about a friendship she formed with an older woman who had children at one point, but I guess her children grew up and kind of went away and were independent. And she was saying, I was able to forge this meaningful relationship because we weren't family.
Right.
And sometimes with family, you bring all of your past into the present.
That's a good point.
And you can't kind of separate the two, and it just creates complicated dynamics, which I think the show kind of brilliantly highlights. Just the sibling rivalry that in some cases never goes away, but yet the support that's there for the shared history. And just, what it looks like when family steps up to the plate and says, I want to have my family member live with me, which I think is very rare in this country.
I think it is too.
As in other countries where that is their insurance, that's their backup. So, in other countries, they just expect elderly family members to live with them. And I think also one of the things that can be addressed is the caregiver burnout, because nobody's handing out awards for being a caregiver, and yet it's a very challenging and in many cases isolating place to be.
Which is why I think the play is so important.
Yeah.
Because people say, I'm not the only one dealing with it.
That's right.
It's that simple.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And
we go, okay.
Sometimes that's all it takes, right? It's knowing you're not alone and knowing where you can find resources. So bravo, well done, and please tell Dr. Yes that she did a beautiful job.
She's an amazing
outlining just some of the issues that pop up and with real people in real time. We do something called the Quick Five. So we'd love to learn more about you. One of the themes in the show was the mother's mother wanted to live till she was 100.
Yes, my grandmother wanted to live till she was 100.
Right, and the mother who was suffering from dementia also wanted to live to 100. So my question to you is, what age do you want to live to?
101.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See, it's so funny. It's like when I think I want to live as long as I'm like being productive and creative, and hopefully, when I can't do that, then I'll leave and go to the next dimension.
That's completely understandable. So here's someone else asked me a similar question to this, and I say, when your number's up, your number's up.
Yes,
right.
That's true.
So, what I want to live to and what I will live to is who knows?
Right.
There's also another line in the play that Jane says, I could go out and get hit by a bus and die any day.
Yeah.
And so I like to live my life, not like a irresponsible, out of control person, like whatever can happen, but grateful for every day, with great hope in the future for everything. So I think it's all in perspective how you look at it.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you believe that you might be 101, maybe you will. And who knows?
Right.
Good question.
I don't really fear death. I just want to make sure I have enough money to support myself as I age into my old age. What's the best way to start the day for you?
The best way to start the day. I'm a prayerful person, so I stay in bed and say a little ditty.
I like that.
Yeah,
Many people who I admire start their day that way. I have to get better at that. That's a good habit to get into. Yeah. What's your favorite genre of book or movie?
I love biographies and books. I love. I'm a little corny. I love a great inspirational beautiful break my heart movie.
Okay.
With real life characters.
Yeah.
Like Good Morning Miss America.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really. I love the fact that everyone has different art, like reality television, and I appreciate it. But I'm a writer as well, and so are you, because you're a doctor. So I really love great writing.
Yeah.
I love English classics, movies.
There's something about a powerful play that's written well that really does speak to people.
And it's,
Yeah, I agree with you. What's something you'd like to do the old-fashioned way?
Well, I'm not married, so I said maybe when I get old enough I'll get married.
Oh, did you ever want to get married?
Oh yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll be married in a very old-fashioned way.
Okay, I love
When
that.
when I'm ready.
When you're ready.
Yeah.
So what would help you get ready to get married? See, the Jewish mother's coming out.
Yeah. Well,
what would help you get ready?
You have to
get
find
married?
the exact right person to marry. Otherwise,
That's
you
true.
shouldn't get married. Right?
That's true.
And then I'm going to get married in the church that my parents got married in, and their anniversary is today. So here we are talking about
All
it.
right. Wow.
Hanover, Iowa, this little tiny church in the country.
I love that.
Yeah, that's I'm very traditional.
Okay.
I'm very old school in some ways.
Do you have some time frame that ideally you'd like to get married?
The next,
You're open?
Yeah, I'm open.
Next 5?
Next
5 years?
Who knows? Yeah.
Let's make it 3 years. Let's speed it up.
Let's make it
bit.
5 days.
5 days. Let's make it tomorrow. No, I don't want to be pushy.
Maureen is over there.
I don't want to be pushy.
I say a year from your parents' anniversary.
A year from
Yeah,
my
let's
parents.
do it then.
Maureen came to see the play last night too. You were so much fun. Thank you for doing it.
Marvin, do you know any single people?
No, but I would recommend the Married at First Sight we can present.
Oh yes, Marry at First Sight.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
There we
How's
go.
that?
So you have lunch, and after lunch you get married.
There you go.
Why
That's
not?
perfect. There you go. That's why Marvin and I work together. We're a good team.
I like that.
We're helping people get married all the time. What are some small things that make your day better?
Mint tea makes my day better.
It's a favorite of mine.
Yeah, mint tea. I always have to make one phone call that's not a work call to a
Yeah.
friend. I call my father every day now because, and he comes over to visit
You're a
me.
good daughter.
He's a good dad.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that we met. Thank you
Me
for
too.
inviting me to the play. It's really powerful. It's limited, so we will have a link so that you can, if you're in the New York area, you can go. It's in a hip, cool part of the city, the East Village, and it's playing till October 12th. So there's still time to see the play
There is.
and talk back. And best of luck with everything.
Thank
and thank
you.
you so much for coming on Talking Live. And I hope to see you during your next play creation.
Yes, and maybe at our talk back.
Yeah, or you can invite me to your wedding.
There you go.
There we go. Have a great one, and I'll see you next week.